Good morning, everyone. Good morning, world, as a matter of fact. This is Ben Coleman, one of your many hosts for the Florida Aviation Network here in the Valley of Speed 2019 Reno Air Races. And it is such a privilege to be able to talk with what I call a true pro and a professional, Mr. Jim Peits. Jim?
Thank you, Ben. I appreciate it very much.
And Jim, you'd be surprised at how accurate this might be. All the noise, we could even do an interview with a T6 flying by. Now that's saying something.
That's saying something.
But Jim, you know, you've been doing this what now? This is your 5th year?
I'm flying air shows or flying Reno. This is 27.
27 years.
Yep.
Okay. Yep. And Jim, and this is the mark of a true professional. If you have not seen Jim's routine in his Bonanza, you just cannot imagine anything more graceful, smooth, and the more intentional. Everything that he does in that aircraft is intentionally done, practiced, rehearsed, and there's a thread of safety. How many times going around the back of your head, Jim, do you think about, okay, if I have a problem, where's my out? What are my options?
Every maneuver has an out, and you practice not only the maneuvers till you get to perfection, but you practice every out. Anytime should anything happen, a door open, engine failure, I've got an out. And it doesn't hurt that most of the shows that I do are over runways, so that helps a lot too.
Well, and honestly, it's whenever I see Jim, I always like to walk up and shake his hand and I tell him, I just want to get some smooth on me.
Well, I had help. I had mentors. The aviation business is like no other. The friendships and the bonds that you build, you can, if you need help to learn to fly or perfect a maneuver, there's always somebody that will take the time to help you. In aviation, I've been involved in a lot of different industries, and aviation is the only industry that I've seen that across the board.
Jim, your background. If I was 12 or 13, 14 years old and I thought, wow, that really looks cool, but I could never do something like that, what are you going to tell somebody like that? Boy, girl, doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. It's ironic because I just spoke to a young man that was 10 years old in the hangar before they pulled my airplane out. And, you know, he wants more than anything. He's a local kid. He says, I don't come from means. I don't have the money. How do I do this? And I said, go to your local FBO and introduce yourself. Go to the local pilots, the CAF, the local aviation club. Just introduce yourself and let them know what your goals are, and someone will help you. They'll reach out to you. Matter of fact, he's coming back tomorrow. He had his mother with him to bring in the rest of the family, so they're going to discuss the next step forward. I'm born and raised country boy. I started out in the middle of South Dakota, and I had a passion to learn to fly, and an old crop duster took me off to the side, and he says, keep your nose clean, you know, stay out of trouble, study. Math, science, the things that you need day in and day out, minute after minute flying an airplane. And that stuck with me. It wasn't that I had the money just to go learn to fly. I earned every step of the way. I mean, I did whatever it took to stay in the aviation industry, and I never lost that dream. It doesn't make any difference where you come from, where you live, what you do. Know that you can do it, and know that, again, aviation will help you get there more than any other industry I've ever seen.
Yeah. And it's interesting that you bring that up because it's such a tight-knit and everybody's willing to help. I usually tell people, if you're working at FBO, I'm a mechanic by trade. Yep. And we'd be in the hangar and an airplane would taxi up and you could tell it was missing just a little bit. And somebody crow out the man, I don't know, I was going to go take off and the engine started vibrating. Yeah. Okay, and let's pop the hood. Yeah. Open your counter and see. Well, there's the problem. You got a spark plug lead that's fouling a little bit there. So, 30 minutes and he's on his way.
Yep.
You think you could go up to a Honda or a Buick dealership? No. Our service advisor would be glad to take your credit card and fill out a work order, and we'll get to you in maybe a couple hours if you're lucky.
Again, aviation people are unlike any other people around there. You know, the bond and the friendships are unparalleled.
Yeah. Okay. Jim, I know you. Oh, wait a minute. This is the only reason I snagged him today, really. the mark of a true professional. I see Jim this morning go shake his hand, and he gets a big grin on his face. And by golly, he said, "I get to fly twice today."
I was on the schedule for once. Some aircraft had an issue, so they stood down today. So I got the call from the air boss just a few minutes ago. I do get to fly twice today, and I love Reno. This crowd is amazing. I've been flying, coming here. This is my 30th year. I first met Bob Hoover here, which if you watch my routine, it's in a Bonanza, right? It's a heavy. It's not an extra. I flew an extra for 15 years, but it's not a flip-flop airplane. It's not an easy deal, but it's all energy management. Everything you do in that airplane, it's a heavy airplane. It's underpowered. And today we're going to have density altitude maybe 9,000 feet. Again, energy management's so important, and Bob was the first guy that really instilled energy management in the Shrike. So again, 30 years later, here I am. You know, so when people don't think it's going to happen, I'm living proof. You know, I meet one of my heroes, he turns into one of my mentors and one of my friends, and here I am filling slots 30 years later that he flew.
It's not irony. It's natural progression. And Jim, I hate to say it, after you and I are kind of moved on, hopefully you will have picked a couple out to say, let me show you how to do this.
I have, and most air show pilots have, because we're getting old. I hate to admit it, but you know, someday we're going to have to pass the torch, and the sooner I can get that done. I'm working with 3 people right now, a young lady that's absolutely phenomenal, and 2 young fellas that will easily be my replacement. So I'm growing them, I'm nurturing them. So, and I'm not the only one. So I've got a lot of hope for our industry.
Jim, I'm told it gets better with age, doesn't it?
It does. You know, it does. So far, I'm still here, and I haven't started here yet. So no, it does. I mean, the experience that you gain after every flight. You know, it's. I've been flying for 45 years. I've somewhere around 16,000 hours of flight time, all GA. But I still learn. I mean, and I still enjoy it. And my wife says I'm a sick pup because I'll fly all day and then I'll pull out a Piper Cub and go fly to relax.
And you know, we're getting off on side notes here, but back when I was like 21, by the way, I'm about 5 years behind you on a number of years flying, and I was 21 delivering airplanes for Piper, flying international, and I thought 10 feet tall, bulletproof, just can't get any better than this, and I know it all. The older I get, the more I respect older people. Because that's where the season is. That's where the real, the honesty comes out. Because there's no bravado, no showing off. I mean,
it's not ego.
No,
it's hopefully inspiration. I don't fly here because it's pads my ego. I fly here because the crowd loves it, and I know that every time I do, I spark somebody. We had kids yesterday, school kids, coming out, and I stood in the hangar and talked to them and answered questions, and you could just see the ones. If I wish I could reach out and get names to follow up and see, you could pick out the ones that were twinkling, that really had good questions in there. And hopefully we reach some of them that let them know that it's available to them. It's,
you know, and what's amazing, Jim, is you can see, there's some that are standing there, and as you're talking, they're looking around, but others,
they're locked on. Yeah, they're locked on. And they're excited.
God, Jim, I feel like you're taking much more than your time than we deserve, but this is for our young ones. This is Obi Young and all the folks that help put this together. It's a volunteer organization. Aero Television is coming up strong, and Sean Tucker's behind it. And Bob, when he was alive, he was helping Brad Irwin. Do you know Brad Irwin?
I do.
Okay. Stay tuned. That's all I do. Stay tuned, because we're going to be good for the industry. Jim, thank you so much for your time.
Ben, thank you.
And you know what? We could do a nice cameo of you walking off towards your airplane as we fade out.
All right.
Let's get creative here.
All right. You ready?
Have fun flying.
Take care.
And that'll pretty well sum it up. Another very, very compelling interview. Ben Coleman, one of your many hosts here at the Reno Air Races 2019. We'll see you next interview.
In the area that I'm in, we got a bunch of guys called the Grapple Bar